So I'm sure you've probably seen on the news in the last couple of weeks all these stories about the settlement with the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, reaching a settlement from a class action lawsuit based on commissions that they charge sellers. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but basically what a lot of people have been saying, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And a lot of people have basically been saying that now buyer agency and the idea or the business model of being a buyer's agent is dead and is going to be gone, and it's going to radically change the real estate industry. And look at how many countries don't even have buyer's agents, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to argue with that. What I am instead going to do is, as somebody who does work with a good amount of buyers, I'm going to tell you the activities that I do and the things that I help buyers with when I am working with buyers, when I do get paid a commission for this work, and in hopes that this allows people who maybe are open to the idea of saying, hey, maybe I don't understand everything related to process of buying a home, and I would like to hear from a real estate agent to understand what it is that they actually do. So if you're open-minded and you'd like to hear about this, this is a video for you. My name is Joe Polyak, San Francisco Bay Area real estate agent with Rise Homes. I am the founder and head realtor here at Rise Homes. I make videos like this for people like you who might be thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so what does a buyer's real estate agent do? So let's break this up a little bit. Some real estate agents specialize almost solely in working with sellers, and some specialize almost solely in working with buyers. Most real estate agents do at least a little bit of one or the other, but probably lean towards one direction. And a lot of real estate training will tell you to lean towards working with sellers. But still, at the end of the day, when somebody is faced with the prospect of working with a buyer and earning a commission for that, many agents will do that work. So let's talk about, what does a buyer's agent actually do for a buyer? First is, oftentimes I sit down with a buyer and do like an initial consultation, kind of like a summary of what you can expect when you're buying a home, right? And so oftentimes this is just that meeting that I have with the buyer where we clarify what it is they're looking for. Oftentimes it's maybe a couple, it might be a single person, but oftentimes it's a couple. And you have these two people discuss with me, they discuss with me and with each other to kind of clarify and think about what's important to them, kind of start steering the conversation in a way to allow them to expand into these details and these nuanced things that maybe they didn't think about before. And so it'll be things like, well, what is your bedroom bathroom count minimum? And maybe they'll start saying, well, we thought it's one, but maybe it should be 1.5. Well, here's a couple of situations of why you should have minimum 1.5 bathrooms, or maybe 2 full bathrooms. And we start clarifying things. And what it does is it creates talking points and creates things for a couple to think about, discuss with one another, to really think about what's important to them. So that's kind of a role I play, is a little bit of a maybe therapist, problem solver, question answer about this whole process, so that they can really clarify in their mind what's really important to them and what isn't. So school districts and areas, and washer dryer in the unit, and condo versus townhome and single family home. People oftentimes they think they understand the differences, but oftentimes they don't. And so because I am somebody who tours dozens, if not, well, definitely hundreds of homes per month, somebody who reviews the disclosure packages and inspection reports and does detailed, nuanced research into different types of properties and different areas throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, and as an investor in other states, I'm able to have this very nuanced and detailed understanding of things and be able to explain that to people as it relates to their particular situation, rather than a more general Google or now even ChatGPT search, which just takes data that is provided from the internet. This kind of connecting the dots and very detailed and nuanced information that I give to people is oftentimes helps them clarify things in their own head and answer questions for them that otherwise would take them tens of hours, if not hundreds of hours of research and time to figure out on their own. So I save them a lot of time by doing that in this initial consultation. Another thing we do in this meeting is to just kind of educate them about market conditions. What's going on? Like, here's a property that, they look at and they're like, well, we saw this one over the weekend, we liked it. And they just started their search. They're like, well, it's listed for $1 million. Well, I would pay like $900, $950 for it. And then I have to show to them and explain, and maybe sometimes I'll even get on a live call with the listing agent and say, hey, how many disclosure packages do you have out? How many offers do you have in hand, et cetera, et cetera. And they'll say, oh, well, right now we have 40 disclosure packages out and I'm expecting 10 to 15 offers, and it's probably going to sell for 20 to 30% over the asking price. So this kind of nuanced market understanding, again, as somebody who negotiates with other agents on the other side hundreds, if not thousands of times per year, and somebody who is in the trenches and walking through these homes and seeing the competition, talking to buyers, talking to sellers, talking to agents multiple times per day, and understanding all of these things, I'm able to communicate what's actually going on in the market live this week versus what you maybe see on the news that's very delayed and sensationalized and hyperbolic and not necessarily realistic. Even that first hour, hour and a half, 2 hour initial consultation, basically, to summarize, allows people to get a lot of their questions answered, a lot of information on the market, and a lot of nuanced, detailed information that otherwise would take them tens, if not hundreds of hours of time to research on their own and still get a lot of wrong information that isn't actually real. And that's a big issue that I see, is a lot of people think that they know what's going on based on just hearsay and talking to somebody who maybe bought a house one time in the last couple of years, or maybe an agent friend who doesn't sell that many homes anyway, or maybe an agent who does sell a lot of homes, but in a different area or a different type of property than what you're looking at, right? Because there's a big difference right now, for example, between loft condos or high-rise luxury condos in San Francisco, downtown, South of Market neighborhood, South Beach, financial district areas, versus a single family home for sale in the Sunset District, for example, or a single family home for sale in Cupertino, for example. Those are completely different markets. These initial consultations help save people a lot of time and headache. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video. It'll really help my channel grow and help me reach more people like you who might be interested in watching videos like this. Thanks again. Financial guidance. I am not a lender, I'm a real estate agent, but I connect my clients with lenders. And so usually after the initial consultation, kind of understanding where do they work, what do they do for a living, what is their financial picture, are they W-2 employees, or are they self-employed 1099 employees? Do they have to sell a property in order to buy another one? Are they planning on selling a property? Do they have rental property? Do they have RSUs and other financial consideration? Because I am somebody who talks to dozens of different lenders per week. I'm talking to 5, 10, 20 different lenders, learning about programs, learning about different specific nuanced things that different lenders are offering, a different credit union versus a different mortgage broker versus a different major bank. Like the US Bank is offering this, and Citibank is offering this, and Wells Fargo is offering that. And Bank of America has this special program for doctors, and this bank has a special departure residence program, et cetera, et cetera. I am able to match people up with the correct and best lender for them in their particular situation at any point in time. So one example is recently we are selling a condo in Castro Valley, and that is considered a higher cost area. And so one bank is offering a $13,000 towards closing costs credit to buyers in that area, specifically in that area, and if they are a minority. So if you're a minority buyer and you are buying in that area, you can get up to $13,000 in credits from the lender towards your closing costs. So that's pretty significant, $13,000 when you're talking about a $700,000-ish range condominium purchase, right? And you're putting down 5%, 10%, 20% down. That could be pretty significant. There's the departure residence program that historically was Citibank always offering it, but maybe now another bank, I forgot which one, but I heard another one is offering it now as well. But basically it allows you to buy a property, and as long as you put your property for sale on the MLS before close of escrow, they will ignore the debt, the mortgage that you have on your first property towards the DTI of your new purchase. At the end of the day, I guess to summarize is once I learn about you and your financial situation, then I can know which lenders to connect you with that will probably offer you the best deal or probably qualify you for the most money that you're looking for depending on your specific situation. These banks and who are offering what and at what time and what are the best rates at that point of time, that's changing week by week by week. Okay, so this is not something you can just Google. This is a lot of on the ground research that needs to be done. So of course, without a buyer's agent, you can do this on your own. You can just call a bunch of lenders. You can call 10, 20, 30 lenders, find out what they're offering. But here's the thing, you don't oftentimes know the lingo that they're using or what they're explaining. You don't know if they're being honest or not. And you don't know if what you're actually talking about, you're comparing apples to apples. Sometimes you're comparing apples to oranges because one person might be saying, well, I'll do this for 6.5% interest. And the other guy says, well, I'm 6.75% interest, but maybe this other guy didn't tell you that you have to pay 2 points off the bat just to get that, making this a way less appealing of a loan. So there's so much nuanced detail that a really good advisor, that's what I am on your home buying journey, is I'm an advisor. And I'm not just advertising myself here. What I'm advertising are professional, detail-oriented, proactive buyers, agent advisors, consultants, people who really are looking out for your best interest to find you the best deal on a mortgage, to find you the property that you're looking for, which may be a good value or maybe a good deal, but may just get you the property that you want in a hyper competitive situation. Whatever it may be, when you have somebody on your side like this, when you're able to get this super detailed research and information consolidated into a very short period of time, rather than spending tens or hundreds of hours researching this for Google or ChatGPT incorrect information oftentimes. And let me be very clear and honest, when you are Googling things or ChatGPTing things, it is taking the information that's out there in the entire country. Well, let me tell you that the San Francisco Bay Area, Miami, Austin, Texas, South Carolina, Nebraska, Hawaii, New York, all Boston, all these areas are incredibly different from one another. I've bought properties in 5 different states. I have sold properties in 5 different states, if not more. I talk to realtors in other parts of the country and how their processes work and what's going on. So if you think you're gonna Google a bunch of information and say, I don't need a real estate agent, I don't need a professional, I'm gonna Google, I'm gonna talk to my friends who've bought properties in the past or relatives, and that's it. One thing that I'll tell you is that's fine and that's great. And you might think that you're saving money or time by not having professional representation, but I have had enough people reach out to me in the middle of escrow because they were know-it-alls, having panic attacks, can't sleep at night, not knowing if they made a mistake, not knowing what's going on, not knowing if they're being lied to because they went directly to the listing agent. And they are acquaintances of mine, said, I should have reached out to you before. I'm so sorry. Do you mind please helping me with this? I'll say, no, you have nothing to worry about here. Or, well, you should have been careful here, et cetera, et cetera. But that happens so often that you think you know, but you don't even know what you don't know. And you don't even know what you don't know you don't know. Literally. That will unfortunately become very, very, very clear to you when it is too late and not a moment before. Okay? That I can guarantee you. Guaranteed, 100% stamp of guarantee there. Let's say we've done the consultation. I've connected you with the lender. You're all set there. What's next? Searching for a property. Oftentimes people say, well, I don't need a realtor. Why would I work with a realtor? I can just see properties on Zillow or Redfin and just go to the open house. Yeah, that you can oftentimes. But let's say you're gone for the weekend or you missed the open house or they don't have an open house or it's owner occupied or tenant occupied, et cetera, et cetera. So you could be reaching out to each one of the listing agents, finding their contact info, reaching out to them, scheduling, coordinating, et cetera, et cetera. Again, that takes time. Having a good, strong buyer's agent on your side means that you have one person, one concierge person to text or call or email and say, here's the properties I want to see, here's the time windows I'm available to see them. And you have a great efficient person that can create an efficient map of where you're going to go see which home at which time. They will make the appointments, the necessary appointments, whether it's owner occupied, tenant occupied, whether it's vacant, but the agent still needs to be there, whether there is a lockbox that you can go see on your own. All homes have different situations. A lot of people say, well, why don't they just give me the lockbox code and I'll go see it? So yes, for vacant ones, that's a possibility, but there are many, many different situations where homes are not vacant, or even if they are vacant, the owner prefers that just random people don't go into their home. Having somebody who schedules, coordinates, and makes sure you see these properties. You could see it at an open house, but most of the time before you get an offer accepted on a property, when I'm working with you, I will make sure I tour that property with you multiple times, at least 2 times. So you see it at least once. Oh, great, I fell in love with it. Great. We review the disclosure package, we review the comparable sales, and then we come back and we see it a second time after reviewing all these things. Sometimes I print it out or bring it on an iPad or something like that, where we go through and with the inspection reports and go in very detail on everything. In addition to that, finding off-market opportunities. So I'm part of a bunch of different forums and top agent network and different Facebook agent groups for off-market coming soon listings, coming soon, and members only features within the MLS, finding things on Craigslist, just networking with other agents, talking to them, seeing what's going on, what's coming up. So I would say about 5 to 10% of my transactions total are off-market. They never hit the MLS for one reason or another. So what are some reasons sellers might not be selling their property and listing it live on the market? Well, maybe they're just like, hey, I just want to sell it as is. I don't want to do any work. Maybe they're divorcing. They want to keep it private and they don't want the neighbors to know about it. Maybe the person's a hoarder and they're embarrassed and they don't want their neighbors to come in. Maybe it's just a very private person. Sometimes you have very private people. You have people who are not comfortable with looky-loos or neighbors or other people coming through their home, and they just don't feel comfortable doing that. There's a multitude of reasons of why somebody doesn't want their home listed for sale publicly. Sometimes they would like it advertised off the market. So if you're not working with a professional agent who, again, is proactive, professional, enthusiastic, excited, turning every rock to find you a perfect property for you, you might miss out on the 5 to 10% of homes that sell off market. You might be missing out on a whole amount of inventory out there because of that. Having somebody tour and preview properties for you. Sometimes you might not be able to make it to a property. You might, again, be out of town. You might be busy at work, et cetera, and a property might go in a couple of days. So you may say, hey, Joe, I may get a text and say, hey, Joe, we're really interested in this property. We can't see it today. Do you mind popping in? Of course, no problem. I go pop in. Maybe I FaceTime you, make videos for you, give you my detail, because the pictures and videos and 3D tours and all that stuff in the property, when you see it on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, it presents that property in the best possible light and makes it look as good as possible. But oftentimes when you go to see that property in person, it feels different. The rooms feel smaller. The floor plan is not quite what it was. It's darker than it looked like in the pictures, et cetera, et cetera. So you may have fell in love with the property on the pictures, but then you go and you see it in person, you're like, that wasn't great. There's a lot of these different aspects of touring properties, finding properties, searching for properties, et cetera, that you might miss out on. I would say at least a third of homes that either sell too quickly, that are available off market, that are not available to show just during open houses or very difficult to show, that aren't going to fit your schedule, that if you don't have basically a concierge at your beck and call available to go see that property for you or get you in to see it whenever you are available and coordinate all of that, that you might miss out on a third of the properties that are listed for sale. Right now in a low inventory market, that's absolute gold, is being able to see a property quickly, efficiently, and understand all the information about the property within 30 minutes of seeing it to know whether you're going to move forward with it or not. Property evaluation. So in our area, most listings, most properties for sale have the disclosures available. In the disclosure package, it'll have all the questionnaires, it'll have home inspection reports, termite report, roof inspection, et cetera, et cetera. It'll have everything, a full, detailed, and complete disclosure package. And listing agents provide that in our area specifically to encourage non-contingent as is offers. And so, I've actually had a bunch of people comment on previous videos that I did, that's stupid. You should never write an offer without a contingency, et cetera, et cetera. Great. I really, really appreciate your comments. As somebody who actually buys and sells homes, over 100 of them in the last few years at an average price point of 1.3, 1.4 million-ish dollars, I'm giving you my perspective. Yes, of course you don't want to buy a property as is non-contingent if there are risks that there could be major or even minor issues with the property. I'm not encouraging you to do anything on this video, okay? So if you are thinking about buying a home and you'd like to discuss that, please remember to contact me. Go into the description of this video. My contact info is everywhere online. You can find it and we can chat and I can help. I'm not encouraging you to do anything on this video. But the fact of the matter is we have full, complete, detailed disclosure packages that have inspection reports and everything else, et cetera, given to buyers and their agents. And we do receive multiple offers that are completely as is, non-contingent, all cash with a loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that is the facts of the matter here in our area. And so if you are competing for a house and you write an offer with contingencies and it's lower than the other offers, even if it's the highest offer, but it has contingencies, you are going to lose and not get your offer accepted when you are competing against an all cash, non-contingent as is offer, or even a non-contingent as is offer that is like 30% down payment. So just keep that in mind. What do I do when I'm helping buyers, when I'm working with buyers? First of all, I review the disclosure package in detail for them. Again, I review 10, 20, 30 disclosure packages per week, right? I'm reviewing, analyzing, doing a detailed deep dive into properties before we submit offers on them for clients. So because I have that experience, I know about HOA documents and financials and what this building has going on and what that building has going on, and this area's type of soil issues in this neighborhood versus this clay soil expand and contract when it gets wet versus this is on landfill and all the homes have foundation issues here versus this is a great hillside property. These homes are still standing here with not a single crack versus this property here next to the beach. It needs to be painted about every 3 to 5 years because it gets dry rot all over the wood, and you got to be careful with that and keep that in mind. Versus this property has termite problems, most likely because it's very hot here in Redwood City, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because I have this vast amount of experience and knowledge of simply walking through thousands of properties, reviewing disclosure packages on thousands of properties, reviewing comparable sales data on thousands of properties, seeing the competitive landscape, talking to thousands of agents, talking to thousands of buyers, home sellers, et cetera, et cetera. Not that I'm a genius or anything like that, but simply because I have that vast amount of experience, I have a certain amount of information that I will be able to summarize quickly within 30 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half and explain everything related to a property. What does this foundation crack mean versus that foundation crack there versus that house here versus how much this roof costs to rebuild, how much these windows cost to replace versus you could probably just replace this panel here versus you can sand and stain these floors here and they would look great versus you can replace these floors completely and that this kind of flooring material costs this much. And because I remodel homes all the time, I know how much things cost, how long it takes to do them, where a permit is required versus where it isn't, why is this versus all of these other things in this area versus this city and this city, that I am able to sit down with you, review all these documents, summarize everything, give you all the information very quickly so you're able to make a quick, smart decision very quickly. We go through, tour the property again, make sure, because at the end of the day, you're about to put $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million of pure cash down payment on a property. And you're going to sign up for a $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month in mortgage, property tax, insurance, et cetera, for the next 30 years, that it's a little bit nerve-wracking to go see a home and then know you have to submit an offer on it within the next 2 days. And that's the kind of market we operate here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Excuse me if you're watching this from Omaha, Nebraska, and that's not how things are done there. And I don't know what I'm talking about as far as Omaha, Nebraska goes. Talk to your local person there, and please just get off this video if you're going to complain about that. I'm talking about San Francisco Bay Area, super ultra competitive, super ultra expensive, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm able, the homes are all super old, right? All the homes are built in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. That is the information and the detailed breakdown that a consultant, professional, part-time, a general contractor, part-time therapist, part-time attorney, part-time CPA, part-time babysitter, part-time, all of these things that I am as an agent to help you quickly, efficiently make a correct decision, know all the risks, know all the rewards, know the summary of how much it'll cost to do what, that I am able to consolidate all that information to you very quickly, efficiently, so that you are able to make the best decision for you and your family quickly when you have hundreds and maybe hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of dollars on the line. So that's kind of the main thing. And then after that, let's say we get an offer after evaluating the property, touring the properties, going through everything, making sure you get the best possible loan, making sure you get hire the best possible contractors to do the work after you buy the house, because you may want to redo the floors, you may want to do a little bit of this, or you may want to upgrade the electrical panel, or you may want to do that, this, and this, because I've worked with dozens of different contractors in all the different fields that I have the best priced, the most efficient, the best communicators, the most honest contractors in this area because of just vast experience of just working with so many of them, that now I give you that information. We got the offer accepted. We're in escrow. You've never been in escrow before. You don't know why you need to provide this information to the lender and that information to the lender, and why the escrow officer is asking for this and demanding this from you. And then the title is this is happening here. And then there's this roadblock. And oh my God, is this a nightmare? No, it's not. It's not a big deal. That happens all the time. Okay, perfect. I can sleep tonight. And all the information, all the help, and all the support that I provide for you and give you ease of mind. And again, I am not just selling myself. I am selling real, dedicated, professional, expert people who do this. So if you think it might be worth to pay your advisor 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100, $150,000 when you are buying a $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million thing, to make sure you don't make a $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 mistake that will cost you that kind of money, and you don't spend 10, 20, 50, 100 hours, 200 hours, 500 hours of research and Google and asking people and time and scheduling, et cetera, only to make a mistake because you got a bunch of wrong information. If you think that might be worth it, then hiring a buyer's agent might be right for you. But we don't know if this NAR settlement is actually going to have any kind of effect yet because the guidelines have not been released. And we don't actually know very much yet at all. But one thing that I do know is that if you are a qualified, motivated buyer of real estate and you've never bought a home before, even if you bought a home in a different area or a different type of property in this area, and you also have a full-time job that you have to work 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. You don't want to do a bunch of work in scheduling and coordinating and researching and learning and Googling and spending 10, 20, 30 hours a week on doing all that additional stuff. Then you need to really make sure that you find an excellent, professional, detailed-oriented, experienced, good, hardworking real estate agent, realtor, advisor that can help you on your home buying journey. Thanks again for watching this video. I know it was long. I know it was a little emotional at times, and I really appreciate you watching it. And if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit like on this video. And please don't hesitate to comment in the comment section below. Really appreciate you. And thanks so much.